around the clock, rain or shine, hot or cold, because crops and animals won't wait. Jimmy knows all about it because he lives it. And Jimmy knows what you're going through because he goes through it too. He's here to talk about it. It's seed and feed, chemicals and compost, vaccinations and irrigation. It's time for Today in Ag with Jimmy Clark.
Hey, good day to all you great stewards of the land. It's Jimmy Clark and Jill Meador.
Happy Tuesday. I'm back.
She's back. She's been in Colorado for a whole week anyway. Man, we got a big show today.
Yeah,
and
we
I'm
do.
so glad you're here to help me with it. Let's get started with it. First of all, it's 93 degrees at Slap Out. The hot spot in the state right now, there's a three-way tie. Hollis, Altus, and Granville. You're all at 101. Out here in the West Texas Panhandle, out in the East Texas Panhandle with the West Texas Mesonet. I always get that messed up. Odell, you're at 100. Wellington, 98. Canadian Texas, you are 99 degrees. Well, on the show with us for the first half of the show, the world famous Dr. Derrell Peel from Oklahoma State University. Thank you so much for coming on today, sir.
You bet. Good afternoon. Glad to be here.
Oh yeah, it's man. There's I got to watch your presentation Saturday morning at the OCA convention. It was very good, and there was some pretty good crowd participation in the deal. And your cattle numbers you were talking about, which we're going to discuss a little bit this morning, and I seen some eyebrows raise up.
Yes, there's some very interesting things happening in our industry, and we're trying to get a handle on it and figure out maybe when things are going to turn a little bit.
Yeah, you talked about feedlot reports, cattle on feed, inventory, cow inventory itself, cow-calf inventory. You talked about 500-pound steers, what they might reach, and that's where I seen the eyebrows come up. and then I seen some more eyebrows come up when you said, $2 fats, maybe more, and this is all just, this is prediction going off what's happened in the past, but after the 2011-12 drought and the 2014 and 15, we never thought we'd see cow prices like that again. But they're getting blown out of the water right now.
That's right. We're essentially going through something very similar in general to that situation where it's been drought that has forced us into the current situation. We're smaller than we need to be. We were smaller then than we needed to be. That pushed us to record prices at that time, and this situation is actually a little bit more extreme compared to that, and it's going to push us to new record prices as we go forward.
And when you say it's even a little more extreme, tell the listeners why it's a little more extreme.
Yeah, you bet. So we got this mid-year cattle inventory report, and as expected, it shows that we're continuing to get smaller. We're liquidating cattle in the U.S., we're focused a lot on the beef cow herd and the beef cow replacements because that's going to tell us when we stop liquidating. And again, we're actually a little bit smaller in terms of overall herd inventory than we were at the low in 2014 before we had our last cyclical buildup. So we're starting from a lower point. And more importantly, when you look at all of the data from January as well as this mid-year report and the cattle on feed reports, collectively, cattle and the cattle slaughter data, what it tells me is that we have an even tighter supply and a more limited supply of heifers available. So we have very limited ability to turn this thing around and try to regrow the herd, even if we get ready to do it.
Right. Yeah. Because I have some friends out here, and they usually put back anywhere from 25 to up to 150 heifers back every year. They didn't do it this year.
No, I think there's a variety of things going on. Obviously, numbers are getting tighter. The market has gone up tremendously, particularly this year. It's actually been working its way higher the last couple of years. But all of these markets, feeder and fed cattle markets, have moved higher. And in the short run, that's, a lot of folks have gone ahead and sold cattle because prices were high. that's understandable, and particularly if you've come out of some stressful times and kind of needed financially to heal up a little bit. But the bottom line is, as high as these cattle prices are, they're going to go even higher as we go forward.
Well, do you think, I know Kansas, a big part of Kansas is still in a D3 to D4 drought. Oklahoma and Texas, it's loosened up quite a bit from the drought, and I think there's some going on, a little bit of drought going on in Nebraska, but the South and North Dakota looks good. You know, talking to one of the local producers here that always holds back a lot of heifers, the reason why he didn't this year, because we were in that drought from last year into just a few months ago when we started getting these rains. That was one of the big reasons why he didn't hold heifers back, because he didn't know if he was going to have grass for them. And
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You know, our conditions in Oklahoma have improved a lot, but only in the last 60 or 80 days.
Exactly.
And prior to that, we had a lot of drought. Folks were forced to continue liquidating. And I think that's part of the reason why we're not seeing any, at least from a data standpoint, we're not seeing any indication of heifer retention on a national basis, even though I think we have relieved a lot of drought conditions around the country, except in the areas you mentioned, Kansas, Nebraska. Even some of the farther south Texas areas have gotten a little bit dry again. But overall, we've seen a lot of improvement in drought conditions, and yet it's happened so recently that I don't think folks have really had time to kind of react to that and respond to that in terms of where they find themselves with their herds at this point.
yeah, I think they're out there swathing and baling that grass up and saving it for next year. So I know we are. And then, for example, myself, my herd was getting 10 to 12 years old. And with the prices that are available, which I didn't have any heifers to replace them, but with the prices available for these slaughter cows or even these older pairs, I just thought I was going to be stupid not to sell them for the price it was getting today.
Yeah, that's right. You know, again, the market's been very attractive, and particularly if you did have limitations from a drought standpoint on your pasture conditions, hay supplies have been really tight, and you're absolutely right. You know, with the improvement we're seeing, we're spending a lot of time right now replenishing those hay supplies going forward. So for all of those reasons, we've had a lot of sales. We've continued to sell feeder cattle as well as cull cows at this point, and we're just kind of waiting for enough more time, I think, for people to, kind of react and think about where they go from here.
Right. Well, Miss Jill has something she wants to ask you.
I do.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
we're talking about predictions, going into the next year, next couple of years. What do you think the prices are going to do in the next couple of years?
We've been on a very we've been on a very strong uptrend. Fed cattle already surpassed the 2014 peak in prices, and they're going to continue to go higher. The bottom line is we're going to continue to go higher. So I'm kind of on record now, as of really last Saturday. It's kind of out there publicly, and so I'll go with it. Given where we are and given the number situation, I said the other day, and I'll repeat it again here. I think a 500-pound steer in Oklahoma at some point in the next 12 to 18 months is going to touch $4 a pound.
Oh, wow.
For a 500-pound steer. 800-pound steers, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't get to $3. And we've got fed cattle already knocking on the door of $2. They'll certainly hit $2 at some point and probably go over it.
So what is your advice for cattle producers? Like, what do we need to do?
Well, obviously you see that coming, and I guess one of the questions is sort of how long will it last? That's going to be a big part of producers' expectations. And again, when I look at the heifer numbers and the sort of the status of the herd at this point in time, I don't think we can start regrowing this thing very fast. I think it's going to be a slower process. And I say all that to say that I think we're going to be in these very strong markets. Now, at some point, they'll peak, and the peak may not last very long, but we're going to stay in elevated and strong cattle prices through 2024 and 2025, and probably well into, if not through, 2026.
It's quite a bit.
That is.
It's a long process. It's a long time, and it's a little scary for me as an economist to say prices are going to stay high that long. But when I look at the heifer numbers and so on, we just simply cannot rebuild as fast as we did, for example, in 2015 and 2016 when we started rebuilding before. We had heifers to work with then, and we don't have them now. Our pipeline is much smaller, much more empty this time, so it's going to take longer to get things turned around.
Well, Dr. Peel, let us take a break real quick, and when we come back, I have a few more conversational pieces to have with you about what's going on.
I can't wait.
Hey, but I'm going to go to bat for you. I read a lot of your stuff and followed you before I even started doing this show. And when I started doing the show, I followed you even more in detail. Let's put it that way. And I'm going to say something. I'm going to bat for you. You've been pretty point on. Maybe a month or two off, but you've been right on the money. So I got to brag on you. How's that?
All right. I appreciate that.
Okay, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, today is Stockman's Veterinarian Clinic Happy Cap Hour. And when we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Dr. Derrell Peel from Oklahoma State University.
The Day in Ag with Jimmy Clark. SCI Agritech in Elk City is now an Oklahoma authorized distributor for Advanta Seeds, offering Advanta seed in corn, forage sorghum, and milo. Advanta Seeds is focused on sustainable agriculture and providing farmers with quality seed. Advanta is now offering 0% financing through December 2023. So stop by SCI Agritech on South Randall or give Kent a call at 580-225-0317 for more details on Advanta Seeds. The future begins with a seed.
You've heard us talking about the 30-year-old ratchet that Napa replaced, no questions asked. A customer had a question about that particular transaction and that particular policy of replacing tools regardless of age. He walked into the Elk City Napa store and asked, "Do you guys really do that?" And the answer was, "We replaced 2 last week."
We try our best not to tell the customer no, but to find what they need. Napa Auto Parts of Elk City, 716 West 3rd. More parts for more cars.
Mosey on down to Hobart Stockyards weekly cattle sale. It's located on Highway 183 North in Hobart, Oklahoma. The sale is every Wednesday at 9:30. If you need to consign, call Rex Fleming at 580-331-8547. They receive cattle all day Mondays and Tuesdays. Buyers can bid in person or online. Hobart Stockyards, where we want your business and do appreciate it.
This season, armyworm better watch out. Because your wheat is protected by Luma Via CPL insecticide seed treatment with a unique mode of action that starts at the seed, then moves through the plant to protect it, from roots to shoots, for strong stand establishment and better yield potential. Army worms, you're out of here. Learn more at corteva.us/LumaVia CPL.
Is your cattle mineral investment being washed away? Weather can cause conventional mineral to absorb water and blow away. Simply put, your cows probably aren't eating it. That's why Purina created Wind and Rain Storm Mineral, a weatherized mineral that can stand up to the elements. Its larger particle size makes it harder to blow away and easier for water to pass through it. Keep money in your pocket. Contact Farmers Union Co-op of Elk City today.
A good afternoon to Jimmy's Great Stewards of the Land once again. This is your Western Oklahoma Livestock Auction Market Report for Monday, July 24th. I'm Drew Cobb. 1,147 head were sold. 7 head of steers at $246 brought $355. 3 at $587 brought $249. 6 at $682 brought $260. 32 at $758 brought $249. 25 at $881 brought $239. 11 at $923 brought $235. 7 at $941 brought $236. 6 at heifers at $481 brought $240. 14 at $564 brought $233. 10 at $642 brought $242. 4 at $688 brought $212. 5 at $722 brought $212. 54 at $909 brought $216.75. 17 at $975 brought $215. Butcher cows were $60 to $116. Butcher bulls brought $190 to $139. Bred cows were $11.50 to $22.75. Pairs brought $600 to $2,900. Western Oklahoma Livestock Auction, exit 71, Clinton, Oklahoma. Sale every Monday at 10 a.m. You can sign all Brandon Hickey at 580-497-6095.
He loves talking about farming and ranching. Here's more of Today in Ag with Jimmy Clark.
All right, welcome back from that Stockman's Bet break. I've picked McLean, Texas out in the Texas Panhandle for your weather update. Currently it's 96. The heat index is 93. Humidity is 25. Nobody's baling hay now. 54 degrees is a dew point. Winds are out of the southwest at 17. Right now the gusts are around 23. Peak wind gust today is 30 miles an hour. 4.96 inches of rain so far this month. And 8-inch soil temperature. They finally got it fixed after a year. 84 degrees. So anyway,
It's about
finally,
dang time.
yeah. Well, on the phone with us right now for this first half of the show is Dr. Derrell Peel from the Oklahoma State University, and we've been talking cattle prices, cattle inventory, and all kinds of good stuff. And welcome back to the show, Mr. Peel.
You bet.
Yeah,
I'm happy to be here.
So I have a tricky question for you, and I hope you can. I want you to. What was the word I heard Saturday at the convention? Oh, I want you to look into your crystal ball. Okay, so let's take away the numbers we've been talking about, and let's get back to the $4, maybe $4 500 weights, $3 800 weights, $2 plus fed cattle. Okay, we got interest rates going on right now that we didn't have going on back in 14 and 15. Corn was cheap back then. It's not $5 or $6 a bushel like it is now. If these prices happen that you're talking about, what are your thoughts on the change to the cattle industry? And what I mean by that is, will there be further streamlining in the chain, eliminating the small and medium stocker operations? Leaving only the cow-calf producers who can't or won't wean their calves with few buyers for their cattle after the peak?
I don't know that I really think what's happening here will necessarily have a lot of structural impacts on the cattle industry. That's really what you're asking.
Yes, sir.
Now, in the short run, clearly, the focus of the market right now is on the cow-calf sector, right? They're in the catbird seat here. The market says we're smaller than we need to be, so it's offering higher and higher prices as an incentive to regrow. But part of that process, everybody above the cow-calf sector is a margin operator. It's all about buying versus selling. And clearly, we are going to squeeze margins here. So that's part of the answer to your question.
Yes.
Certainly, we're going to see some margin squeeze. Feedlots have done pretty well so far this year with the run-up we've had in fed cattle prices, but they're selling calves that they bought a lot cheaper. When they have to turn around and replenish those feedlot supplies, the next set of calves is going to be a lot more expensive. And then those margins are going to get trickier as we go forward. And that's going to be true for the next 2 or 3 years for the stocker guy, for the feedlot guy, for the packer, and even for the retailer as we go forward. All of the margins are going to get squeezed a bit because all of this supply pressure that's pushing prices higher is coming from the bottom up. And so, but we've been through this before. We've done this before. I don't think it means that we'll completely restructure the industry. Some of the sectors are going to go through some tough times, if you will, some margin squeeze. There's lots of dynamics in this market, but everybody understands that that's just kind of the way the cattle industry has worked for a long, long time with these cycles of ups and downs in inventories and in prices.
Right. Yeah, because you go buy a set of cows right now, or even in the next year, right now on, and you have to borrow the money to replenish your herd or whatever you want to do. Am I going to wait? Am I going to go ahead and spend the money now, and hopefully I get the first calf to the sale barn before the prices start falling real bad? To help offset that cost on that cow, because there's a lot more to it than just, hey, I'm getting $4 a pound. Well, what about your inputs? What did that cow cost you? All that good stuff.
Yeah, certainly we're in a different cost structure now than we were the last time we went through something like this. And that is, I think, part of the question of sort of how fast we're going to rebuild. I think producers, understandably, are moving a little more cautiously for the very reasons you talk about. But here's the way I look at it as a market economist. If the prices we have today are, again, at the cow-calf level, if they're not strong enough yet to provide the incentive to rebuild the herd, to make that investment, then the prices are going to go higher because, the market's going to try to solve the problem. And the problem right now is that we're smaller than we need to be. So that's part of the reason why I'm saying that prices will continue to go higher until we get high enough to provide that incentive and encourage people to jump in there and make that investment.
Right. Miss Jill?
Well, speaking from a consumer point of view, we talk about beef prices rising, and even in grocery stores and even for local producers, they're raising the prices of their beef. Do you think consumers might buy less beef because they can't afford it and they might turn towards different meat options?
That's something we've been watching actually for many months because, of course, beef is always more expensive than the other meats, and that's just the nature of things. And it doesn't have to be as cheap as pork and poultry, but it has to be a decent value for the consumer. So we've been watching that because that's been a concern already, and it continues to be a concern. It's a very good question that you asked. So far, we don't see any indication of that. Retail prices actually have continued to go up this year. The thing that's going to be a little bit different going forward is that in 2022, because of the herd liquidation that the drought was putting on us, we actually had record-level beef production. So we had lots of supply, and yet the beef prices stayed high, that's kind of the way an economist defines good demand. If we can sell as much or more at the same or higher prices, then demand's pretty good. What's happening now in 2023, and it'll be even more pronounced in 2024 and 2025, is that we're going to have less supply of beef because cattle numbers are getting tight, and we are seeing beef production fall this year. So now some consumers aren't going to get the same amount of beef they've been buying simply because there won't be as much beef, and the prices will probably continue to go higher. But it's because we're having to ration a more limited supply at that point. So the short answer to your question is I think beef prices will stay high. In fact, I think they will go even higher. But it's a little different situation now. It's because we're trying to figure out who wants it the most and is willing to pay the most to get a smaller supply of beef.
Yeah, that's probably what will happen with the big processors from the cattle coming from the feedlot to the processors. It's going to be a bidding war out there who gets those that beef from those processors.
Well, that's right, and of course they're in that same boat, right? I mean,
yeah.
Feedlots are a volume business, packers are a volume business, and they recognize that the supply of cattle is getting tighter. So everybody's scrambling right now to try to maintain volume as best they can. But the inevitability is, and again, we're not talking about just a few months here. We're talking about probably the next 2 to 3 years for sure. Cattle numbers are going to be tight, and that's going to also squeeze beef production. Even more so in the future when we do start holding heifers. We maintained record beef production in 2022 because we weren't saving any heifers, and we haven't saved any yet that we can detect. But at some point we are going to take even more supply away from the meat side to save these heifers for breeding purposes. So the real squeeze on beef production and the real pressure for higher beef prices is still yet ahead of us, either late this year or probably more likely through 2024.
Well, before you go, I got one question for you off the text line, and kind of goes with what you just said. But so should a small producer that usually sells processed beef out of their steers and heifers just forego that and just go to the sale barn for the foreseeable future?
Well, I can't give you a blanket answer to that because it depends on kind of the uniqueness of your situation. I mean, prices can be higher all the way around. So I guess what the answer to that is going to depend in part is, are you going to try to keep your direct sales beef prices in line with what's going on in the market? If you don't want to do that, or if you think that's going to be a challenge for you, then you might be better off to just take these calves to town and let the market price them accordingly to figure out who gets that limited supply.
Yeah, and with the Jill and I was talking about it before the show, and Dr. Peel, I'm sorry I didn't tell you, Jill her and her family, they have a pretty nice Angus farm here south of Elk City. So she, as you can tell, she knows what she's talking about when it comes to cattle. So, but anyway, we was talking about the risk factor
of feedlots.
Yeah, and you got your cattle right now. They're 500-600 pounds. We can take them to the sale barn or let somebody buy them. or with the prices being as high as they are, it becomes more of a risk now to go to the feedlots, as Jill was talking about earlier before the show, because if you lose one or two animals out of a lot of 100 calves, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, just the production risk is higher, obviously, as these animals get worth more. That's going to be a question for cow-calf producers thinking about whether to retain these calves, as you mentioned. It's going to be a challenge for, obviously, everybody in the industry, just the risk of the cost. And, again, to emphasize at the feedlot level and even at the stocker level, these margins are going to get more and more tricky as we go forward. Feedlots have done pretty well on this first turn of cattle as we went into these higher prices. But each subsequent turn of cattle, the cost side going in, the cost of the animals coming in is going to be a real challenge relative to the value coming out the back end. Even though they're all prices are going to be higher, the margins are going to get it tough. And at the feedlot level, a real concern is what's going to happen in this corn market. We have the potential for corn prices to be a little bit better going forward with this new crop than they have been the last couple of years, but there's no guarantee. Right now, the weather's pretty uncertain in the Midwest, so there's no guarantee that we're going to see any relief on the cost of gain for those feedlot producers.
That's correct. Well, Dr. Peel, thank you so much for taking time out of your precious day to be on the show with Jill and me, and had a lot of good information there.
You're very welcome. Anytime I can help, I'm happy to give you a shout.
Well, I'm going to have Jill chase you down while she's at Stillwater, maybe do a live report with you.
There you go. We can sure do that. We'll be in the same building.
Oh, perfect.
So anyway, thanks, Dr. Peel. Appreciate it. You have a great week.
You too.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
All right. Let's take a Stockman's Vet break. When we come back, we got Jase and Marcus in here. We're going to talk about the First Baptist Church at Carter and their frog gigging contest. Because you wouldn't believe how many
You didn't tell me about this part of the show when I came in today.
I dare not.
He started with the cattle conversation to get me really intrigued. And then he was like, oh, yeah, we're also going to talk about frogs. I was like, oh, great.
Oh, anyway, so we'll be right back after this.
The Day in Ag with Jimmy Clark.
It's important to keep your irrigation machines up and running during the growing season because when your crops need water, they can't wait. And when you need parts, there's no substitute for the best. Valley Genuine Parts. From gaskets and gearboxes to booster pumps and boom bats, Valley Genuine Parts make all the difference to your operation. Contact your local Valley dealer, Knutson Irrigation, 1-800-373-9325 for all your irrigation parts, technology, and service needs, or online at KnutsonIrrigation.com.
Do you love the great outdoors? Maybe you enjoy trap shooting or skeet shooting, or maybe getting some target practice in at the firing range is your thing. If you're that person, you love guns. Hobart Farm and Garden has a whole room dedicated to guns, gun safes, ammunition, and more. It's quite impressive. You got to go check it out. They are Western Oklahoma's platinum Browning dealer and Glock stocking dealer. They're located at 1030 South Monroe in Hobart, Oklahoma. If they don't have it, you don't need it. Hobart Farm and Garden.
We've been part of Western Oklahoma's ag industry since statehood. I'm Marty Maddox from Great Plains Bank in Elk City. We proudly support our local FFA labor auctions and premium sales. Our local lenders have a combined 127 years of banking experience. We handle all ag-related loans, like land purchases, farm operating loans, and stocker lines of credit. And we recently helped over 700 area farmers and ranchers with their PPP loans. Great Plains Bank in Elk City is here to lend agriculture a helping hand. Member FDIC.
Cattle have to eat. When grass runs short and you want to strengthen your herd, go with High Pro. For High Pro, go to Cowman's. Cowman's Feed and Ranch Supply in Eric specializes in bulk feed. It's always in stock, and prices are good. And the way they take care of you is even better. If Gary Mills says he'll do it, it gets done. Every time. It's nice to know a place like Cowman's is around to help ag producers here at home. Cowman's Feed and Ranch Supply, 117 West 2nd in Eric. Call 526-3070.
Your tractor has a flat tire out in the field, or you're on a construction site and your truck tire's flat. So you call down to Blair. They answer the phone, and somebody comes to wherever you are to fix your problem. They come to you. Blair Tire and Feed has 8 people who work like dogs to take care of you. They carry Firestone, Michelin, and some other tires. Blair Tire and Feed. They're at the corner of Highway 283 and 19. For on-site tire service, call 563-2692. 563-2692. They come to you.
Hey, Today in Ag listeners, this is Jared Clark with Southstar JCB. We carry a variety of wheel loaders, excavators, telehandlers, skid steers, and several other types of equipment. Please give me a call at 469-325-7466. That's 469-325-7466. Check us out on the web, southstartxjcb.com. That's southstartxjcb.com. I'd love to sell you one. Thank you, and God bless you.
XIT Auctions will be selling a good farm equipment auction Saturday, August the 5th, just east of Altus, Oklahoma. Trucks, tractors, trailers, a nice combine, and much more. For more information on this auction or to talk about your auction, call me, Aubrey Latham, 580-393-4440. That's Saturday, August the 5th, 7 miles east and 3 miles north of Altus, Oklahoma. Check all the details out on the web at xitauctions.com. XIT Auctions, ready to work for you.
Ooh, Jimmy's all wound up and ready to go. Here comes more of Today in Ag with Jimmy Clark.
All right, welcome back. Jill's over here. She's interviewing some frog giggers.
I am. I've never had frog legs, and Jase is telling me I haven't lived yet, technically. So one of them is probably listening.
Yeah, that's all right. Well, let's do our weather forecast for northwestern Oklahoma, and then we'll get right to frog gigging.
I picked the large town of Sealing, Oklahoma today.
Cool.
It is 94 in Sealing. Feels like 96, though. Says the heat risk is low, but I know it's really toasty out there. Dew point is 65, humidity 38%. Wind is out of the south-southwest at 15 miles an hour. Your sun is going to set at 8:48 p.m. Today you expect a high of 103 degrees. It's going to be breezy with wind getting up to 24 miles an hour. Tonight, low of 78 degrees. It's going to be mostly clear. Literally for the rest of the week, it says hot, hot, and hot. Tomorrow's going to be 103, Thursday 102, and Friday 101. So drink lots of water.
And stay in the shade. All right. Well, welcome to the show, Jase and Marcus. Marcus Darling and Jase Hargrove. You guys, it's coming up. I actually found my frog giggers in the trailer the other day because I'd moved, and I thought I ain't even going to participate this year. But we got water, and I'm on it. So
plenty of water this year.
Tell everybody, all the listeners, what's going on with the First Baptist Church of Carter's frog gigging.
Well, August 4th and 5th is the 3rd annual Carter Frog Gigging and Frog Festival. It starts off on Friday night, and it's 2-person teams. It's a free event. You just got to be at the church by 8 o'clock. If you don't know where it is, go to the stop sign in Carter and go left. You can't miss us. You'll find it. But that's where it's at. You got to show up, get registered. We'll give all the rules and instructions out there. It goes off a weight. We'll do like a 2-man with limit, which is like 30 frogs. That's what we'll weigh in the next morning. You'll have all night to hunt them. We don't want you shooting them. It's a gigging contest.
Right.
So you can catch them with your hands. You can gig them. I know it's legal to shoot them in Oklahoma, but not for our contest. We want you just to gig them. You got to be back at 9 o'clock on Saturday morning to weigh in. And we weigh the frogs, and then you do have to be back Saturday night at the festival to win any of the prizes. We're giving away 2 $500 gift cards to Totally Outdoors down there at Cameron's.
Oh, cool.
The last 2 years, we've had enough contestants that we've give away for second place some $250 gift cards and then some $100 gift cards. So depending on how many contestants show up, we also have 2 Trace Rios belt buckles for the winners, which we started that when we did it. And then for the biggest one frog, so you may not catch 5 or 6 frogs and not going to win, but you have a giant frog, we give away 2 Jayco handmade little sticker knives in the sheaths.
Oh, that's
so that
worth it.
it's worth it right there. We
yeah.
had a set of brothers last year won that. They didn't catch very many frogs, but they did catch a big one.
Yeah, because Jayco knife, they're the best.
They're the best.
Made right here locally, too.
I'm telling you. So that's kind of what's going on. But the big thing we want to push that we've not done a real good job the last 2 years, Saturday night is for anybody. You do not have to be a frog gigger and participate to come down Saturday night and eat with us. Enjoy the evening. We're going to have a few raffles to give away. We'll have some door prizes for our contestants. But Saturday night, anybody in the Carter area or communities listening wants to eat frog legs, calf fries. We got lizard tails. You can buy lizard tails at the store. Usually they say chicken strips, but Jill's looking like, what in the world? So we've kind of thrown it's on the flyer, so we've let the hint out the last 2 years what lizard tails are. We're just kind of honoring that way at Carter, at the church. That's just who we are. So we like to have fun.
Carter.
It's just Carter. It's just us. That's just how we are. So it's a great event, but we really want the community and people around the area to know Saturday night is for anybody. Come out. What time is it, Marcus?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. We'll have games. We'll have some inflatables for the kids. There'll be cornhole set up. Good time to hang out, know people, meet people. We'll have a great meal, great desserts. The ladies of the church fix desserts, and if you know anything about Baptist ladies and cooking,
they love food.
They love their. I mean, it's spot on. So you're not going to go away hungry, and then we'll have a good time in the evening. And that's kind of the layout of what's happening.
Yeah, and you can even be a Methodist or a Catholic.
We don't care. We don't care. And yeah, JD takes care of the cooking. He's kind of in charge of the cooking, and frog legs, JD Dameron, and the calf fries, and some of the stuff's out of this world.
All right, so let's go back to some statistics from last year. Marcus, you got them?
The first year we did it, we had 15 teams, and out of all of them, we had a little over 400 pounds of frog legs. Well, this last year, whenever we did it, we had the same amount of teams, but there was a little bit less water.
Right.
And we come up with like 625 pounds of frog legs.
Right. And what was the biggest one?
The biggest one right now that we've had was the first year we did it was like 1 pound, 15 ounces. We haven't broke 2 pounds yet. The frog last year was just a tick smaller. And I think Marcus said 15, but we've had like 40. I think it's 45 teams.
45 teams
is what it's been both years. The first year some of our teams was made up of, some little bitty kids that one daddy took 5 or 6 teams out for 30 minutes. Last year we had 45 pretty much competitive teams. I mean, we looked up and had an airboat sitting out there outside of church. People went as far as people went up by Arnett. We had a team out of Eastern Oklahoma come out. I mean, we've had people's traveled for this deal, so it's pretty neat.
Oh, yeah, I think it's cool, and I'm sorry I hadn't participated in it, but now that I'm a Carterite, I'm probably going to be in on it.
That'll work. And we really, last year, even when we talked to the game wardens, we thought, they're probably not going to catch me frogs with the drought kind of last year.
Right.
And they caught more. It was crazy. We really surprised us. They caught tons of frogs. So
wonder where they were.
I don't know. I don't know if they're on the river.
Wasn't even running.
I just wonder, like the small spots and the small holes, if the water was down and they weren't in the grass, so they were easier to get to. So the guys they either had a tough time or they come in with a ton of frogs.
Well, I'm kind of going to steal a little thing from the Skinny on Sports show because I hear Jared and Aaron always kind of throwing it out there. So have you guys had anybody come in with weights in their frogs to check them in?
Not yet. Not yet. We haven't. We've kind of,
you know what happened to the walleye fishing.
I know what happened, but like I tell people, it's a church function. I mean, if you feel comfortable cheating at church, come on. It's a church function. So that's just kind of where we're at on that deal.
So. Well, you heard it straight from Mr. Hargrove. If you can live with yourself, bring it on.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a good event. It's one of those deals. This thing really started because you guys here right after COVID hit. You guys had the online fishing derby.
Yes.
My boys at our church, I mean, they love that thing. It was great. And we were thinking, what can we do for our community? Well, you guys kind of had the fishing. Cameron does a coyote contest, or somebody locally does pig hunting. And we were thinking, what can we do? What can we offer down at Carter in that area? And that Sunday at church, one of our older gentlemen that is from Louisiana was so excited he found frog legs to buy in Elk City. And
Where?
I don't remember now. I don't even know if the place is still there, but he found a place. He was so excited, and I said, why are you buying frog legs? We got my son, we got Trent Britton's son, we got these boys catch them every weekend. Like, that's just what they do. They'll get you all you want. Yeah. And he had no idea. Well, then I was driving home that day from church, and it was like, there's your contest. There's your contest. Nobody that we know's done it, so I called the game warden, asked. He informed me as long as we played by the rules and the limit. And I got to admit, I might have not known there was a limit when I was a kid,
either.
but there is a limit. You
What
better
is
check.
it?
The limit's 15 per day.
Per person.
And I haven't read this year's regs, so I might be telling you wrong, but last year he come down there with us. James did. It was real cool. He shared. He said a frog is one of the hardest animals to hunt legally in the state of Oklahoma because if you're going to shoot them, you got to have a hunting license. If you're going to fish them, they fall under the fishing rules, and you got to have a fishing license.
What about gigging?
Gigging comes under fishing, so you've got to look, and you got to only have a 3-prong gig in Oklahoma unless they've changed it.
Yeah, that's what I got.
You know, so it was kind of, I know Cameron brought some in, so there was people down there like modifying some gigs and getting legal, you know, but it was pretty neat. He come down, he had a good time with us. He shared some stuff. He encouraged our adults and our kids, you know. It was just a great event, but he said, yeah, when they got to looking into it, it's just the way the laws are wrote, it's a tough animal to hunt that way. So, yeah.
I learned something today.
Hey, I did too. I learned something last year because it was like, it's just a frog, let's go get them. But it was, you know, but that's what we do. And that's the way we're promoting it.
So I got to ask you guys this. Did you see anybody bring in a frog gigger on a 6-foot stick with scope on it?
I had a text sent to me. Yes, I did. Had a red
Are
dot
you
scope.
kidding?
Yeah. Matt Riggs, the pastor at Spring Creek, sent me a text before and says, is this legal? And he's got a gig and backs up, and it's got a red dot scope on it. I even showed Game Wars. I got to laugh out Game Wars on that one. It was like, this deal, yeah. So I don't know if Riggs used it or not, but if he did, he's a preacher too. So, you know, Spring Creek. So that was his idea. Yeah. So.
Oh, I knew this was going to be a great show
I'm
today.
telling you.
I mean, we went from Dr. Peel, from serious numbers, to this.
To this.
But it's for a good deal. I mean, you just don't go to a frog leg cookout every day.
No, you don't.
No, and we want.
And
like
I bet Jill's coming.
We hope so.
Maybe.
I'm gonna bring you some either way.
Okay,
make sure
that sounds
before
great.
you get to college, you have got to have frog
I'm
legs.
not touching it.
Yeah, that's
I'm
all
not
right.
touching a frog. I'll eat it.
It's all right.
I'm
You
not
ought to see
touching it.
and really, if people were to see what it takes to put this on, it's pretty impressive. When people weigh in, we don't let them know what their frogs weigh because we want everybody coming back for Saturday night. So they don't know what they weigh. They don't know if they want anything. But I'll have a group of 10 to 12 or 14 men cleaning frogs outside for
I seen
3 to
pictures
4
from last
hours. I
year.
mean, it's crazy.
It looked like I don't know what to describe it.
I don't either. It was a mess. But anyway, and then we've got ladies that are already there washing them, cleaning them, like inside, preparing them to cook, and then they start them in the batter. And I mean, it's an all day process.
Any secret batters?
Yeah,
Marcus?
but I really don't know what it is. Do you?
I don't know what it is. I haven't seen it.
JD kind of mixes it
JD's
up.
got
So
his own batters that he uses
Well,
for
JD's
all of
not
it.
listening because I know he's in Colorado.
he's in Colorado, so
Yeah, so
I wish I did because it's whatever he always does for his calf fries. We put it on the frog legs too, and it worked, and it's good.
Oh, cool. Well,
You're like a little kid over there. You're so giddy.
this is good stuff. You know? This is an ag show, but I'll guarantee you,
Welcome to Today in Ag.
90 out of 100 of the people that are going to be participating in this contest come from the farm.
That's it. That's it. Because we're a rural church. I mean, we're in the center of Carter, but Carter's, 250, 300 people? Maybe, and in the surrounding areas. So all of us are rural, and that's what we wanted to do something to reach rural people, what we enjoy doing. I mean, they love to be on a river. The kids love this stuff. So that's kind of what give us when we saw your fishing derby and how many people liked it and enjoyed it and participated.
And
we
it's
thought,
coming up this weekend.
Yeah, and so we thought, let's do something down there. And last year we saw some families in Carter that did invite some of their family in for the weekend. So we're hoping in the future that this kind of puts something on the map for
Sounds
Carter
like
every
a
year.
family
I'm telling you. Yeah, so.
Well, it kind of is because about everybody's keying around there.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm the outcast.
Yeah, but it's not just for people in Carter or surrounding community. I mean, you could be all the way from up in Woodward.
Oh, yeah.
We've had people from eastern Oklahoma. I think we've had some people from Texas come in.
That's
You know,
awesome.
And that's something I have done in the past. And if you're coming from a long ways, if you're going to drive 2 or 3 hours out and they're hearing this for some reason every year, if they'll text me ahead of time, there's always circumstances that we've let some people from eastern Oklahoma or whatever, they wait, and when I turn everybody loose at Carter, I call and give them the rules. But then they still have to be at Carter by 9 o'clock the next morning.
I got you.
We may have a church or two that some pastors are promoting it around a couple hours from here in their church, and then they may do the same thing. At 8 o'clock, they may turn them loose, but then they still have to be at Carter that morning. So we're going to work with you best you can. One thing people need to know is you've got to hunt your own property. This is not, we get calls every year that people like, we show up and you're going to take us frog gigging. No, it's not really that kind of event. You have to have your own land, your own property. You're
and that don't mean go trespassing.
Yeah,
either.
no. So it just
And
comes.
you don't really want to do that around Carter anyway.
No, or pretty much anywhere. So that,
So anyway, well, I'm going to give some directions. It's easier to find compared to last year. Is when you get to Carter, 9 Highway and 34 intersection right there, just look to the east. There's going to be a big crane, a cut crane, flying the American flag, Oklahoma flag, and the Christian flag. And you can't miss it. It'll be the tallest thing in Carter.
We saw it last year, 2 miles outside of town. You could see it.
I could see it. And then, real quickly, give a phone number out, how you can contact you.
You can get a hold of me at 580-799-1922.
You can call me at 580-303-0518.
All right, and then have you got it on a Facebook page anywhere?
We're just sharing it. All of us will be on our church, First Baptist Church, Carter, Oklahoma. Down at TTS has got a big, on the access road, they've got a big banner up. Cameron and Totally Outdoors has one. One thing I want to throw out there real quick, one thing we're doing this year is we are going to have a silent auction. This thing's a free event, but the silent auction, everything that we make on that, we're going to give to the cemetery fund at Carter.
Oh, great.
To help them. We wanted to do something the church did to help give back to the community, and we come up with that. So we've had people every year want to donate to this, and we appreciate that, but we don't need the money to do it. But any donation or that, 100% of that's going in the cemetery fund to help keep the cemetery at Carter cleaned up all year.
And one last thing, you don't want to be that guy that comes in with those frogs full of lead weights.
No.
Anyway, all right, we got to take a quick break. We are way behind. Come back, we'll have the Hobart Farm and Garden Long Ranger forecast, a little update on Stockman's bet now that she's back from vacation herself, and we'll wrap up the show pretty quick. So we'll be right back after this. Thanks, gentlemen, for coming in.
Thank you.
Today in Ag with Jimmy Clark.
I was a teacher, and so I taught him in high school. What I always noticed about Mickey was what a leader he was. And part of it is because he's so willing to do the work himself. We had a incident this past December. We had the freeze in Mangum, had a pipe bust in the wall, and it's just a mess. And Gary called Mickey, and honestly, the plumber did arrive first, but Mickey and his daughter were right behind them. They brought tools, and they helped Gary clean out the bedroom, and they mopped the floor, they took the carpet up. And when they left, I told Gary, I said, we couldn't live in a better town, because that would never happen anywhere else. And we're very thankful to have him. I'm Celia Nippert, and Gary and I use Mickey Lively because we know that when we have a need for our insurance, that Mickey and Farm Bureau will take good care of it.
Hi, I'm Mickey Lively. I'm an insurance agent with Oklahoma Farm Bureau. My office is located in Greer County. Call me anytime at 580-782-3827.
So why don't everybody have a generator now? I think the biggest thing is people don't truly understand the benefits of it. They look at it right now as a luxury and not as a commodity. Until people have some kind of a life-altering experience of losing power and having an event that they are actually altered by not having power, I don't truly think they understand how much of a commodity it is. Well, we teamed up with kind of a branch off of Generac called Synchrony. Synchrony is a financing department that basically will allow us to give 3 or 4 different finance options for the customer. From 0% financing for a limited amount of years or a little longer years, a little higher interest rate, So it gives people the ability to basically go in and say, I can afford this much payment for this many years. What can I do for it? And we can match the different terms offered by Synchrony to get people into the budget that they need to be in. I'm Brandon Culver with Culver Electric. If you need anything electrical or generators, give us a call.
You know what time it is. It's time for the Sizzling Summer Sidewalk Sale. Time to shop until you drop every day. Lots of sales going on. Check out all the participating businesses in Elk City. Go over and check out the Elk City Chamber of Commerce Facebook page. They can help you with that. Coming up, folks, July 27th, 28th, and 29th, Elk City's Sizzling Summer Sidewalk Sale, downtown Elk City. Again, that is July 27th, 28th, and 29th. Get out there and be ready to shop until you drop.
We will be an ag bank forever. There's just no way around it. Western Oklahoma, that's kind of a big deal around here. And we like to structure that stuff to where it fits your operation. One size doesn't fit all. We're able to take what you need and have it fit you specifically. It helps guys with their cash flow. It gives them a little relief knowing they don't have to come up with a payment during the slow time of the year. They're not having to sell calves early to make a payment. I'm Jason Redd, and I help make the difference at First National Bank and Trust of Elk City and Sayre.
Member FDIC.
Farmers and ranchers, listen up. It's time to make your life easier with the Hay Wagon from Everett's Welding and Repair in Visay, Oklahoma. The Apache Hay Wagon hauls multiple bales of hay and helps reduce waste. Less waste means more money in your pocket. It'll pay for itself over time, plus make your life easier. What a deal. See all they have to offer at everettswelding.com. Again, that's everettswelding.com. And be sure to check out their ads inside the Penny News.
He loves to talk about farming and ranching. Here's more of Today in Ag with Jimmy Clark.
Can you help me with this question?
What?
Does Bigfoot eat frog legs?
Sure. I mean, the Sasquatch? Yeah.
That was on the text line. So we have people's attention.
Apparently.
And that was coming from a guy that's cutting silage up around between Custer City and Thomas.
Okay.
Anyway.
Well, that's pretty awesome. Well, since nobody, and I remember this yesterday because I was listening, since nobody picked Hollis yesterday for the Hobart Farm and Garden forecast, I picked Hollis today because they need a little love down there. It is 103 degrees in Hollis already. Feels like 102. Dew point is 56 degrees. Humidity 22%. Wind is out of southwest at 17 miles an hour. There's a heat advisory until 8 p.m. this evening. Today you can expect a high of 105 degrees. Tonight, low is 75 degrees. It's going to be mostly clear. Tomorrow, it's going to be 104. Thursday, it's going to be 104. Friday, it's going to be 103. And Saturday, it's going to be 101 degrees.
No rain in the forecast?
None. The lowest temperature is 73 degrees for the next week.
It wasn't very long after sunrise this morning. It was 80 degrees.
Oh, it was hot. I walked outside to go pick up my brother for football, and I was like, it's hot. And it's 7:30.
Yep. This is from Dr. Taylor Mouse. We are seeing a dramatic increase in foot rot cases as a result of all the recent moisture. Early treatment is the key to avoid production loss and to minimize hoof, toe, and joint damage. Let us help as soon as it's detected. Also, please remember to keep an eye on your pets and livestock as ticks are thriving. Imagine that. Ticks carry disease for our pets and rob our livestock of production and weight gains. Contact us for easy treatment and prevention programs for all species except for rattlesnakes. She said she will not look at rattlesnake. And I haven't caught one this year, or she's going to get it. It's also time to plan spring calf working and a vaccination program for your cow herds. Call us as we can work together on a program and schedule that will fit your needs and production schedule. Also, providing a not full-time, this is small print over here. Also, providing a full line of equine services, including vaccines and dental. Remember that good, clean water is the most important nutrient for all of our pets and livestock. Please check your water sources regularly. Proudly serving all western Oklahoma and the Texas Panhandle, providing full service to all species and a complete mixed animal practice. Call Dr. Taylor Mouse at 580-225-0200 to schedule a visit or for after-hours emergency service. And she's back. I called them bright and early yesterday morning, like 8:05. Ronnie answers the phone, not Christy. I knew something was up. I said, hey, how you guys doing? What do you need, Jimmy? And I was like, I was just seeing if you guys were booking since you've been gone. Yeah, we're answering two phones here. What do you need, Jimmy? So anyway, and then Ronnie tells me she didn't do nothing on her vacation.
What?
I know. And so anyway, we had some really good participation in our text line today. I'm always happy to see.
That's very nice.
Text people. And anyway, so I got to read this one I read to you during the break. Jimmy, you have such a wonderful personality that when you spring your ideas on that involve others, like here just a few minutes ago, they just naturally say yes. Hang in there, our darling Jill.
What can I say? I was thrown into this 7 months ago, and I didn't know what I was getting myself into.
Your life has changed, though, hasn't it?
My life has drastically changed.
And your and your brother loves you even more.
He really does. When I asked my dad for your phone number about the FFA auction back in January, I didn't know I was getting myself into this.
That's awesome. Anyway, well, we're about out of time.
We are.
That was a good show.
It was great.
It was a full show, and thank you, Mr. Hargrove and Mr. Darling, for coming in. And I am going to post the information on our KCO Facebook page on the frog gigging. I mean, it's going to be fun, and you'll have to look back at the First Baptist Church's pictures from last year. It was cool.
It's a big deal, yeah.
It's a big deal. And so, anyway, see you, tomorrow or Thursday? You haven't decided?
I haven't decided. Don't make me decide yet.
So, anyway.
Are you gonna tell me the full story before?
Well, tomorrow I have a beautiful lady that's going to be in here to talk about equine.
Very nice.
Riding, the whole works. She's going to be cool. So it's good. The equine people are loosening up.
Oh,
finally.
yeah.
They're kind of like cotton farmers there for a while. Keep their mouths shut. So anyway, we'll be back tomorrow. You've been listening to Jimmy and Jill on the Today in Ag Show. God bless.